everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Elyachar, the chief content producer and writer of jakestake.com, a pop culture entertainment news website. If you're listening to our audio platform, please give us a 5-star rating, download this episode, and check out all the other episodes that's been going on since November 2019. It's a thrill to welcome my latest guest today. She is a singer-songwriter, and as of this recording, she has 2.8 thousand Facebook followers and 2.8 thousand Instagram followers. Please help me welcome. And also, she has a new album out called Soul Alive. So please help me welcome Jennifer Harper to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Jennifer, it's a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to talking with me today. I really appreciate it.
I'm so happy to be here. It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. So, Jennifer, what I do every single time that I have every single episode, I love to get my inside, talk about my guest's origin story. So when did you get interested in music, and how did that passion evolve into desire to pursue a career in the recording industry?
Good question. So, I always loved music. I gravitated very young towards the piano, and that was really my love, and where I felt my gifts most shine was when I was playing the piano. And I would also sing songs, make up songs and things like that as a child, but it was definitely the piano was my thing. I got into acting as well and doing musicals and things like that. It never occurred to me that making my own records or writing my own songs was something that was in the realm of possibility for my life. It was like a dream. I had all kinds of artists that I adored, particularly, starting in teenage years, but it wasn't in my consciousness like that's what I'm wanting to do someday. I mean, it was, but it didn't seem in the realm of possibility. So I just kind of put it to the side, and I got more involved in acting. Actually, it was a safer way for me to express myself. It wasn't, could hide behind a character and somebody else's words and script, right? And not as exposed with my own experiences. And so I did that for a long time, but it wasn't until after college that I was in a musical in New York City, and someone was in the audience who was an old-time Motown guy, and he had heard that I sort of secretly wanted to write music and was interested in that side, though I guess I had confided in one of the other people in the show. And so they introduced me to him afterwards, and he really took me under his wing and showed me that it was something that I was good at, and it was something that was possible for me. So that was really the first time that it even entered my consciousness, like, wow, could I really even do this? And I started writing songs. But it was a long time until I started recording, and it was just an evolution of my own confidence and, belief in what was possible for my life, and also my artistry developing, taking different classes, or I think I did some things with the Songwriters Hall of Fame early on in New York City. And that's when I started developing some songs, and, so different things like that sort of gave me a little bit more confidence, but I was never a real go-getter, after this is it, this is what I'm going to do. And I had a lot of other interests and things, and mostly just didn't have a lot of confidence in my voice. So it took a long time. Really long time.
Believe me, that's amazing. So I got to say this: choir kid from 5th grade to 12th grade, theater kid to 5th grade to 12th grade. So I definitely have the performer background now. And I got to say this: it's very interesting that you had I'm very glad you had the opportunity to work with someone that was affiliated with Motown and also the Songwriters Hall of Fame. So not one, but two prestigious musical organizations.
Yes. Yes, definitely. And I also, early on, I got involved with the New York Songwriter Circle as well. And that was probably the first place that like really gave me an opportunity to share the music that I had written publicly. So that was a big step for me. But that wasn't until I was already, I think I was pregnant with my second child at that point when I first got on stage and performed my music. Um, it was at the Bitter End in New York City. It was Tina Schaefer, who's an old time, I think she's been doing it for 30 years now at the Songwriters Circle. And she really gave me a first opportunity to perform. So she means a lot to me, and that circle means a lot to me. So
And
there's some really special people that saw something in me that I couldn't see in me and lifted me up and gave me a stage and gave me an opportunity, like Billy Davis, the Motown exec, and he was a his songwriter, and became an ad exec later as well. And I would go to his office and show him what I was working on, and he would give me some feedback. And I made my first demo in his studio, so a lot of people really extended opportunities to me, and that made all the difference. So
and having those people back you is an incredible thing. And then that just reminds me so much of all of the when I was working with my college media, CU Boulder's news team, and also CU Sports Mag, and also the CU Independent, and along with the internships I had over the years. It's like it's
well,
great
I
when
didn't
people
know you
believe.
were at CU because my son is now at CU. So there you go, Boulder.
Shout outs to you, Buffalo's family and alumni and current students and staff.
That's
I love that school.
yeah, but what a place. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. So I can see, how important it is to really to give young people opportunities to ex, you know, exercise their gifts, right? To not just sort of, to really give them tangible opportunities to express their gifts and try things out. So yeah.
And it could lead you a lot of people with different things. And like next year, 2026, marks my 15th year as a content creator and journalist. So it's led
Amazing.
me along. This is a long, winding road.
It is a long winding road, and I've had a long winding road as well, for sure. I understand that. And I think the important thing for any young people who are listening is that, I think when you're young, you can have this vision of like a timeline. Like, by the time I'm 30, I have to achieve XYZ, or, whatever it may be, right? And you have these big dreams, and sometimes life, knocks you with a few things, or you take an unexpected route, or you get an opportunity that leads you in a different direction. And I think that being open to life and paying attention to the opportunities that come your way, and learning how to be in alignment with your own energy and in alignment with your own what your highest what's really for your highest good. Sometimes our ego can get in the way, and sometimes we can try to control too much what we think is the right path. I think giving it all some grace and some surrender, and allowing yourself evolution and opportunities to explore, and it's so important. I never thought that I would end up doing what I'm doing, to be honest. But at a certain point, it became clear that this was truly the highest expression of my gifts. And it made sense to not give up and to keep pursuing and evolving as my creative expression at the piano and singing and writing. But yeah, so if that's a bit of advice, hopefully landed in there somewhere for
Oh,
some
yeah,
young people.
Jennifer. And that reminds me a lot of, because a lot of with this generation, they see what happens with Olivia Rodrigo, a Justin Bieber, or someone on TikTok like Zemelios, and they've gone and they've had these viral moments and success. and there are grass, and they think the grass is always greener on the other side. Like I've even said that when I look at my podcasting colleagues who've had bigger names on than I have, or
Mm,
have done better things, like go on, like anchor a show on CNN or something like that. But at the
mm.
same time, it's like, do you rather be someone like your heroes, like Regis Philbin or Barbara Walters, who've been around for 50 years, or someone that's going to be like, where are they now?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And the important thing is to constantly improve yourself and right and to evolve and to do better than you did yesterday and to look back and say, wow, look at where I've come from, and not, I think, always be so focused on where you got to get to, because you never know what life is going to throw at you. But if you're always evolving and you're always improving and you're working on your craft and you're going after the things you love and really most desire to do and feel that you're most suited to do in life, then you can't help but just get better and better at it as you go along, so yeah, you have to be in it for the long haul, I think.
Absolutely. And speaking of long haul, I want to talk to you about your recent album, So Life. It's your first studio album in a decade. So what went through your mind throughout this recording process? Because the thing is, it must have taken a long road, as we discussed, to get to the release date.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because after I finished my last album, which was All the Love, I spent uh, a good 2 years, I would say, performing, sharing those songs and a lot of different venues around the country and really enjoying that. And then um, started writing new material a little bit, but nothing was really landing. Nothing was feeling like, yes, this is what I want to do. I'm like ready to bring this into the studio. It just wasn't, I wasn't quite finding my voice. And it started to be tumultuous times in this country. And I grew up in Washington, D.C., and I was really raised with um, a lot of social consciousness. And one of the things that influenced me the most as a child actually was seeing how music was used for social change. I attended a lot of protests and things where, very famous musicians, Joni Mitchell and Jackson Brown, different people were out there playing their songs for a cause. And that was when I think I first, as a teenager, was like, oh, if I could do that with my life, like how amazing that would be. Um, so as there was a lot of turmoil in this country and a lot of divisions starting to happen, and it was really, the discord was weighed really heavy on my heart, and I felt this responsibility as an artist to like do something meaningful and say something, write a song that was going to like have some impact. And it felt like pressure, and nothing was coming because of it, because there's too much pressure and control on things, and the creative juices just don't really flow. I did write a song called Unison, which I never recorded, but I performed it at March for Our Lives. I don't know if you remember that whole movement.
Oh yeah, I remember those. That
Oh,
one, that was definitely I believe after the Parkland, if I remember her correctly.
yes. So I got very involved in that. We had a huge demonstration here in the live, and I was a music coordinator for that, and I performed there. And actually, Paul Simon showed up, which was really cool, and sang "Sound of Silence" at that
That
event.
must have been insane to be to
Yeah,
have that be in that
incredible.
moment.
Yeah, he's one of my major heroes, and that song as well, like one of the biggest influences on my life. So yeah, so that was incredible. But and then I was invited to a lot of events in my city to sing at vigils, and things to do with the whole issue around gun control. And for the mayor, there was an event for the mayor. So I was doing different things like that, but I wasn't writing anything that felt like, yes, I've got to get to the studio. So then the pandemic comes. So that's like a whole other world opened up,
Oh
right?
yeah.
And
I can imagine being in like for me, I was in New York City at the height of it, from
wow.
March 2020 all the way to phase 4 reopening in August 2020. My folks, let's just say that, shout out to my mom and dad. I love you, Mom Gloria and Father Matthew. They were terrified, and my mom
Yeah.
was livid.
Yeah. Yeah. It was tough time. There was so much going on. I had three teenagers at the time. So I had three kids home and going through various things with, the isolation. It was intense. And to kind of bring some joy into my life, I decided to join different things online. I was invited into a songwriter circle. So that was really wonderful with a bunch of other women that I knew, songwriters like myself. And the weekly accountability, showing up every week with a new song. So that was great. And that really got me going again. And I really unlocked my voice in the way that I desired. And I knew that I was on to something different and new. I was also in like women's circles online, more spiritual groups and personal development type groups, and really tuning into the energies and what people were going through. There's a lot of common themes as women that I knew I experienced, and also just hearing it repeated over and over by all the other women. And these were women, ages in their 20s up till their 70s. I mean, there was a whole, and some very, very successful entrepreneurs and other people newer to business, some creatives, some not, wide array, but all women. And it was really, really interesting hearing people's stories and tapping into all of that. So coupled with my own songwriter circle weekly, and then being in these other circles, there was so much for me to think about and write about and explore. And I also started, using the music more for healing. It was soothing and healing, and that going over these themes in a way to kind of almost like I was writing the remedies. That's how it felt. Like I was hearing the problems, processing the problems, and then the songs became the remedies. And at the same time, I was studying human design and gene keys. So that's a whole other world. But I did a certification online, and I got very deep into this study, which is basically, in a nutshell, it's a system of looking at your birth chart, the aligned energies of your birth chart, and understanding various things about yourself, your energy, and how you make decisions, and different centers that the way the energy in different centers work, and it's very involved. The gene keys go into frequencies like shadow frequencies and your gift frequencies. So I spent a year very immersed in this with this group, and that started influencing as well my music. So it was kind of like everything just came together in the most beautiful way, and the songs just, some of them were just really effortless. They felt channeled almost. Several of them just came through like in water, and I was contemplating something, and the next thing I knew, I would hear a melody, um, and the lyrics would come out, and then I would just bring it to the piano, what had come through, and sort of reshape it at the piano into something that I felt would land for other people, so other people could receive the gift of it in the way I had received the gift of it. If that makes any sense whatsoever, I don't know.
It does. It does. It does. It's like basically, it's a lot. That's a long way to lead. That's a long way to lead to a project. And like sometimes I agree with you. If you don't have the best music now, don't put it out. Basically, save it for a rainy day, or save it for like if you do a B side album, go for the B sides.
Yeah. Yes. And definitely, I mean, the other thing I'll say about that though is it's really valuable to be in community, because had I just been on my own, I would have put a lot of those songs by the wayside. I would have thought this is a mantra, or this isn't a song, you know. But because I was in community, because I was able to share what I had written and what had come through with the community, and receive the feedback, you know, and see the impact that it had directly when I shared. Sometimes women were crying, you know, when I played my songs. And I knew, wow, okay, this one is really landing with people. And I might not have done anything with it had I been on my own. So I just kind of want to emphasize how important I think community is as an artist, to be able to be in a place where you have other people that you really trust and feel comfortable and safe with, that you can share your ideas. Because sometimes we are our harshest critic. So yes, we want to put out the best of what we have, but also sometimes something is really amazing and you might not recognize it. And it really, truly helps to have a community reflect back to you.
Mm-hmm. A community is always important. I'm like, even in my world, in my podcasting world, there are creators I really admire and really like, especially within the challenge and America's Got Talent communities. Shout out to my friends AGT Time Pod and also my friend AGT Insider, a lot up on the America's Got Talent side, and also my friends Drew Angelman and Mike Lewis and Oscar Hart, and also Scott Yeager and Dylan Deckard, and my friend Paige, and most likely because they, and also Pierre McCall of Stack Nichols Podcast, because I bounce out my ideas to them all the time when
That's
it comes
awesome.
to this.
Yeah, that's awesome. So important. So important.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I would love for you to talk to you. I would love for you to talk about some of the songs that are some of the most most streamed Spotify songs, and the story behind each of them.
Oh gosh. Okay.
I want to. So we're going to start from the 5 figures and work our way up to the 6 figures, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
All right, so let's start with the title track, "Soul Alive." As of this recording, it has over 84,500 Spotify streams.
That song had a real evolution. And there's actually a big story to tell with it. So I'll try to figure out how to be concise. It started out as the chorus was, I decide and the universe provides, instead of soul alive. It was, I decide. And I kept singing this, and this iteration of the song, I decide and the universe provides. And I was like, yeah, I was so into that. I was like, yes, this is it. I decide. And I was into that whole frequency of like knowing my power, knowing how I can decide things, I can choose things, and the universe is going to respond. And this is how, you know, we make it happen. So I was like into that whole vibe in this. But it just wasn't. I was like, okay, I got the vibe, I've got the idea, this is it, but these are not the lyrics. This is just, it's just not happening. But it wasn't landing. It just wasn't landing. And I so I put it to the side for a long time. I was recording the album, and I put it to the side. So it wasn't even necessarily in consideration. And then once it landed and it became soul alive, it happened when I was on a walk actually with my son, and I was just like letting that feeling flow through me as I was walking. I was actually kind of dancing down the street, and I was like, what is this? What is this feeling? It's so alive. It's so alive. It's so alive. It's soul alive. You know, so that's kind of how it came out. And then I really wanted to capture that feeling of thriving, that feeling of just everything's working out in the best way possible for me. I'm ready, kind of a feeling. And I captured the lyrics on that walk, and then put them into the song. And there was another verse that actually changed in the song as well, but we might not have time. It's more of a story about well, I'll say it quickly, but it had to do with the womb, woman's womb being like a place of creation. And this is an idea and something that I've worked with a lot, and I help women connect their womb to their throat and express themselves. And this is the kind of work that I do with women. And it was really embedded in this song, that power coming from that source within. And but it didn't, again, it didn't fit the song. I was like, yes, this is the subtext. This is what's underneath. This is what's powering the song, is that truth of the power of the womb and like the ability to create my life and manifest a life of thriving. But the lyrics didn't belong in the song. So I rewrote that part too. So that song had a really interesting evolution. And once it kind of popped and I had it, then I was like, this song needs my old producer on my last album, All the Love. It was co-produced by Tal Bergman, who's an outstanding drummer in LA. And I was like, I have to have Tal on this song. I need to have his drumming on there. So he laid down some drum tracks for it, and then it really popped. So
I gotta say this. Maybe you put that energy from Soul Alive of those songs that didn't fit in there and put that energy towards I Am a Queen, which basically, as of this recording, has over 98,800 Spotify streams.
Yeah, that I Am a Queen. Yes, that song had more of the energy of surrender and really learning how to soften into feminine power. And that was another song that was like a mantra for me for a long time. So it's funny, both of those two songs, this one was also a mantra for me. I played it over and over. It was just this reverie that I just fell in love with, and I couldn't stop playing. The piano parts is how it came in, with the piano parts. And then the only lyrics that came were so sparse. And it was this, I am a queen, surrendering. I just kept singing that over and over, and receiving, and releasing, these kinds of things. And I said to my producer, I was like, I love this, but it just doesn't have the lyrics. Like, it's just not, the lyrics just aren't coming. He's like, well, maybe those are the lyrics. Like, maybe that's all it needs. Maybe that's what it is. And I really appreciated that feedback. And then I was like, yeah, you're right.
And here's the thing. Some of the best songs are direct to the point. And however, if we have a lot of fluffy, flowery language, it could really derail it.
Yeah. Yes. It was just more sparse than anything had been before, and it was repetitive. And then I decided to speak in it, which was the first time I'd ever done that. So it was more of an affirmations almost. And I was experimenting with that. Super happy with how it came out. And it really does land for a lot of people as being very therapeutic. I haven't put it out yet, but I have an extraordinary experience with women in Africa who have been through extreme abuse and very traumatic situations. Took this song and worked with it for the day, where they worked with the energies of the song and recorded themselves singing. And it's so beautiful, and just a reminder that music really is medicine. And I am very excited to share that soon. That'll be coming out soon in support of their organization. Yeah.
Well, thank you for giving Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar a little exclusive sneak peek with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. I love it when people do sneak peeks on their stuff. So we got to move on to Beautiful Earth, as this recording 221,000 Spotify streams.
Yeah, that's one of those songs that the feedback of other people really helped me a lot, because again, I thought this is sort of, it was just a very unconventional song for me at the time when I wrote it, but it was certainly written with a lot of devotion and clear intention. I've always been very concerned about the environment. I was really raised with a lot of environmental consciousness, and involved in various projects throughout my life, and also with the kids and the school system, got very involved in different things, teaching and doing art projects with the kids around Earth Day, things like that. And I had never really written a song with, really expressing that devotion to the earth. And when this song came through, it was more of a tapping into, um, it was tapping into desires. Like, what are your greatest desires? What do you want to call in? That's what it was. It was a new moon when I wrote the song, and I was writing it. I was in a new moon circle or something, and it was like, that's what, calling in what we desire. And there was this sense of, well, I have my desires, but like, what's this for the greater good? What is for the highest good? What do I really want? Like, beyond what I want for myself. And I was exploring that, and what just landed was like the earth, the healing of the earth, the connection with the earth. And so I was playing around with that. And I also really allowed myself to experiment on the piano in a way that I hadn't before in this song, and just played around and came up with almost some dark sounds. But for me, it was like the sounds of the earth's cries. That's how it felt as I was writing it. And then when I was in the studio, I layered some of these piano parts and felt really, really good about what I had created, because I had let myself go someplace creatively that I had never gone before. And I felt it was really all in an effort to create something beautiful, to illuminate the need for healing of the earth. So that's how that song came together. Yeah.
Absolutely, it was very beautiful. And one of my favorite ones is Remembrance. I was listening to the on the way back to my apartment today from a workout, and there were some chords that remind me so much. And I know even this may be interesting of Remembrance, but like the thing is, it reminds me a little bit of like Night Changes from One Direction, where a little bit of the chord change, like guitars, like I've heard the da 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 da. There's like some kind of similarity between those.
Huh. I I
It,
I don't even know that song well enough to even know exactly what you're talking about. Like, I have to go listen. But well, there's only a certain amount of chords and notes,
oh,
so
oh
they
yeah,
end up sounding similar. Yeah, in
but
here.
it's good. I like that song.
Oh,
So
good.
it's like, but
Yeah,
like the thing is, like that's as of this recording, 230,000.
yeah. I have to say, when that song came out, that was when I wrote that song. I just instantly fell in love with it, and I still that's one of my favorites. I just love it. It felt the most true to who I am, and just flowed so effortlessly out of me. Um, it was related to what I was when I mentioned I was studying the human design and Gene Keys, and it was related to understanding my own energy. I'm what's called a projector in human design, and understanding that my access to my energy is not as consistent as it is with some other designs, and how important it is to rest. And at the same time, my husband was winding down on his career and about to change his work as well. And it was just so obvious, this like how much we pushed, to get through a lot of life, raising 3 kids, and uh, it was just like permission to rest, this song, and also the connection to the elements, like just deep connection like that, listening to the trees and listening to the wind and listening to the water and the stars, um, and then to rest, and know that that's okay. So that's sort of how that song it came to be, very effortlessly, and I had a wonderful time again with the piano parts and layering piano parts and experimenting, and really enjoyed the whole process of creation. And the idea of remembrance that's in there is that a lot of a lot of the way modern society is set up is really, gives us amnesia to our true state, our true state of being, and certainly disconnects us from our power and our ability to connect to nature and create the most beautiful lives, and healthful, you know, uh, connection to our bodies and our ability to heal ourselves and all of that. So it was like, a nod to the remembrance of ancient times, remembrance of maybe even other lands, who knows, even other galaxies, other experiences that we may not remember, that this multi-dimensionality of existence and the remembrance. So it's just like a singing that, almost like a lullaby to remember, like a little active, not a lullaby, like an activation to remember your power, remember who you are, remember and rest. It's okay to slow down and rest. So that's what
Uh,
that song was about.
oh yeah, I've learned a lot about. I definitely need to listen to, like, over the past couple of weeks. I've definitely need to use that mantra.
Yeah, release, I think it's rest your head, breathe out regret. And
Oh
that's a
yeah,
that's a big one for me. That was a big, that the whole idea of releasing regret and living a life of no regrets is really what led me to pursue music. And finally, I knew that if I didn't, I would always have regrets. So that thread is in there as well. And the best is yet to come is in there. So it's
absolutely,
a
absolutely.
hopeful, relaxing, activating song. It has
Oh
a lot
yeah.
of power in it. There's a lot in it, and I think that's why people like it so much. Yeah.
All right, so we got to start winding down our conversation. So, have you thought about any dream collaborations, like the singers, the songwriters, producers, musicians, that and how that you want to work with, and how would they enhance your sound? Your sound.
Oh, so interesting. Well, maybe I haven't given that enough thought because I've always been pretty solo. Like I write all my own songs, and it's my own process, and I I basically have sought out producers that I felt were a good match for the material that I was writing, and I'm going to take this as a really good opportunity to think about who would be dream people to collaborate with, because I guess I haven't really dared to think so much about that. I mean, I have all kinds of people who have influenced me, musicians who have influenced me growing up, and of course, some of these iconic people would be a dream to ever do anything with them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
um, but I think that a lot of times, you know, I don't know. I have to say I'm a little stumped, which maybe isn't a great answer. But
Well, here's the thing, Jennifer. The next time you're on my podcast, I hope you have that answer prepared because I
yeah,
will ask you again.
yeah. No, it's important. I've always been so solo. I've just been kind of doing my own thing and I guess I never really thought, again, it's like that sort of the way I operate, where it's like, I didn't really think that's possible. So I don't really like think about it. But maybe it is. And it's time to start thinking a little bit more about who are some dream people to call in.
Absolutely, absolutely. And same with me. That's what I'm a one-man band, but sometimes I need to have some good collaborators.
Yeah. I love listening to Rick Rubin. Am I saying his last name right?
Oh yeah, Rick Rubin, yeah.
Yeah, I always love listening to him. I mean, he's always so wise, and he just says it straight, and I think he really understands what it means to be an artist and create art. So I always love listening to him. That's one person that I definitely connect with. And
And who knows, Jennifer, maybe you and Rick Rubin could do a record.
well, I will put that out there into the universe. You heard it here first. Why not? Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. I've had some moments where I put stuff out in the universe and they have come true.
I love it. Well, that's fantastic. That's the
All
way
right, so
it works.
absolutely. So, all righty. So, last question. Are you ready?
I guess so.
Where can my audience find your music, and also where can it connect with you on social media?
Well, I'm on all streaming platforms, Jennifer Harper, and the latest album is Soul Alive. I am also at jenniferharpermusic.com. So that's a great place to connect to everything, including a lot of different ways that I work with clients one-on-one and groups and meditations and different things that I offer. You can all find that on my website. And in terms of socials, on Instagram, I am Jennifer Harper. That's probably the easiest.
Yeah. All righty, guys. If you miss an episode of the Jake Stick with Jacob Elyachar Podcast, visit our channels on Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Spreaker. Jake Stick with Jacob Elyachar, JCOBELYACHAR. Now, are you on social media? Because I'm on social media too: Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Twitter, and YouTube. Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. Want to find out my takes on new music? Who won America's Got Talent? Want to go back for almost 15 years of content? Well, visit shake.com. Once again, shake.com. And I'm thrilled, and Jake Stick with Jacob Elyachar is thrilled to announce that we are a 2025 American Business Award winner. I want to thank the Stevie Awards staff who awarded me a Silver Stevie for the best interview and talk show category in the inaugural podcasting division. Jennifer, it was such a pleasure to talk with you. I had such a great time.
Thank you. Me too. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.
You're so welcome. And guys, thank you so much for listening to our conversation today. And until next time, have a great one, everybody. Goodbye.